Afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Eric Hall. I'm a member of the sales team here at Manhattan Life. Today, we're going to walk through the Affordable Choice product, which is showing on the screen. A couple of housekeeping notes. Phone lines are muted out of respect to everyone on the call. We want each of you to be able to engage with the information that we're going to present today. That said, I am joined by Isaac Amaku, Claudia Sanchez, Stephanie Ramirez, Tiffany Hamilton, Angel Duncan, and Riley Rizzo. This is the team. You know them, you love them. They're here to support me. If you do have a question while I'm going through the product itself, feel free to drop it in the chat. I will either, they will either answer the question in the chat or they'll throw something at me to get my attention, and then I will answer it for you. All right. That said, let's take it from the top. I'm going to be using the Elite Plus as my model for the conversation today. All right? All right. Inpatient hospital confinement per inpatient day. On the Elite Plus, that is a $6,000 benefit. Let's talk about confinement, folks, all right? Because our role here on the team, one of our functions on the team, let me correct myself, is to ensure that we keep y'all on the right side of conversations with your clients, all right? The inpatient hospital confinement benefit is not the same as an observation benefit. The confinement benefit is paid out in situations where your clients are confined to the hospital. Think worst case scenarios. Think life-threatening, potential conditions that could lead to a confinement, heart attack, stroke, paralysis for sure, okay? Major burns, organ failure, things of that nature, right? Situations where they cannot or should not be released from the hospital due to their health condition, okay? That is confinement, all right? Pay a per day benefit for that, all right? Now, here's what you need to know, and it might be something of a write-down moment for you, team. The confinement benefit, as well as the observation benefit, is triggered after your clients have been in the hospital for 24 hours, okay? They have to be in the hospital for more than 24 hours before we will pay either the confinement benefit or the observation benefit. Now, you will note in the brochure that nowhere is the observation benefit listed. Easy math, I'm going to tell you how to calculate it, all right? The observation benefit is 50%, half of the confinement benefit. Using the Elite Plus as the talking point, that means the observation benefit is $3,000. It is also a per day benefit. That's the confinement benefit. That's the observation benefit. All right. Now it's going to get a little tricky. The building benefit injury reimbursement. Okay. For years 2 through 5, it is a 25% year-over-year increase, capping out. Again, using the Elite Plus as my talking point, caps at $12,000. It is a per day benefit, but here's the part that is most important. I'm highlighting it here on my screen. It's for injury-related hospital stays, okay? So what I'm saying to you is this. For most conditions, if you have a client that needs to be confined to the hospital, for a covered service, we're going to pay a benefit that ranges from $2,000 to $6,000 depending upon the plan level. Keeping with the Elite as my talking point, if for some reason you have a client that is in an accident or an injury-related situation, right, and they are hospitalized, they are confined to the hospital as a result of their injury, okay, or injuries. Starting with year 2, that confinement benefit is going to be $7,500. By year 5, it becomes $12,000, okay? That is the only way, the injury-related point here, that's how they are able to benefit from the building benefit injury reimbursement. All right, hospital admission benefits. First inpatient day per calendar year. So the first time that you have a client that is admitted into the hospital in a calendar year, they can get the hospital admission benefit. That they do not have to wait a 24-hour period on, okay? So if they are in the hospital and within 24 hours they're admitted into the hospital, then the benefit is triggered. But remember what I said earlier, team, and I'm repeating it just in case some folks joined us a little late here, right? When it comes to the confinement benefit as well as the observation benefits, okay, those are triggered after 24 hours has passed, right? They can be in the hospital, they can be in the ER, they can be in a room, whatever the case may be, we're not going to pay the confinement or observation benefit unless they've been in the hospital for more than 24 hours. Hospital admission benefit, slightly different. It is a day one benefit. Emergency room and urgent care, we're just going to put those together because they're really simple, right? Straight ahead, nothing fancy there. Per day with a max per calendar year, all right? $300, 2 visits, calendar year, ER. $300, 4 visits, calendar year, urgent care, okay? All right, pretty easy. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. We'll come back to the surgery benefit, the ambulatory surgical benefit, the daily assistant surgeon benefit, as well as the daily anesthesiologist benefit. We're going to skip all of those for right now, okay? We're also going to bypass the doctor's office rollover, okay? And we're going to the section here where it says outpatient and prescription benefits. We're passing that up too. We're going here to where it says outpatient medical services. There's a method to the madness, team. It's going to make sense in just a moment. Again, using the Elite Plus as the talking point. What you see stated here, preventative services, colonoscopy, PAP, PSA, right, lab services, so on and so forth, therapy services, radiology service, okay? These are the benefit amounts that we are paying. These are considered covered services under the plan. So when you have a client that files a claim with us because they received a colonoscopy or some lab work or some form of physical therapy or something along that lines, right? Assuming that it is a covered service on the plan, we're going to pay the plan benefits. All right, and this is the reason why I skipped the other section, because I'm going to give us something of a walkthrough. I'm going to use the colonoscopy as a talking point. It may be something of a write-down moment for you, team. The colonoscopy on the Elite Plus pays a $600 benefit for the preventative service, okay? Now we're going to jump up just a little bit right here to the doctor's office visit with rollover. Let's say that you have insured, call him Joe. Joe goes to the doctor's office for a preventative colonoscopy. That colonoscopy, unless Joe is a bad, bad man, Joe is going to want some anesthesia with that colonoscopy. I doubt that he's going to want to be fully awake during the colonoscopy. That is going to trigger the ambulatory surgical benefit, all right? Outpatient surgery performed in an ambulatory surgical center or outpatient hospital facility, right? So it doesn't matter if they're having a day surgery, if they're, a day surgery facility, if you will, in and out, right? Or it doesn't matter if they're in a hospital environment. This particular benefit is paid when the service is, let's call it all in, right? With that colonoscopy, they're going to want that anesthesia, right? So you're going to have the preventative benefit itself of $600, and you'll also have, and again, I'm working off the Elite Plus, you'll also have the $3,000 ambulatory surgical benefit. So right there, you're looking at a potential $3,600 benefit, okay? Right there, all right? Now, let's say while the doctor is performing the scan that he identifies a lesion, tumor, polyp, or some such, right? Does a biopsy, he's going to send something out to the lab. Because he's got to do a removal for whatever it is that he finds or she finds during that procedure, okay, that then triggers the surgery benefit. Now we're going to spend a little bit of time on the surgery benefit. The policy fee schedule. The policy fee schedule is derived from Medicare.gov's fee schedules, right? We use that as our baseline. For example, if for a given procedure, our claim processors look at the Medicare table, and they say, okay, hey, this procedure, for this procedure, Medicare is going to pay a maximum of $500. If you have an insured on the Elite Plus, that's what the multiplier does. It works with whatever the base is from the Medicare table. Using $500 and the Elite Plus, that makes that a $1,500 benefit payable. All right, here's the thing you need to know about the Medicare tables, team. They are state specific. The market price in Texas is not going to be the same as the market price in where, team? Wyoming, right? It's just not. It's going to be something else. Market price out here at the home office in Houston, Texas is not going to be the same as it's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, Miami, Florida, so on and so forth, right? It's the Medicare table that we use. What's most important for you all to communicate as far as this is concerned, what's most important for you all to communicate to your clients is that we do use the Medicare table, right? And if you have them on the Classic Plus or higher, if they're on the Classic Plus or higher, that surgery benefit is going to have at least a 2x multiplier on it. So in the event that, going back to the colonoscopy example, in the event that you have an insured that has to have that colonoscopy, they go in there, $600 benefit available, right? Procedure and all of that, $3,000 benefit that stacks on top of that. Then there's got to be a surgery for the removal, right? Whatever that number is in that state for the Medicare table is going to have the multiplier applied to it. And then there's an additional benefit available for your insurers. All right, quick check-in. Any questions around that before we move forward here? Okay, not sure if anyone is typing, so I've got my eyes. Thanks, Felicia, appreciate you. All right, if someone is typing, I'm monitoring the chat, so I'll catch it when it comes in. All right, the daily assistant surgeon benefit as well as the anesthesiologist benefit, they both connect to the surgery benefit, right? It's the Medicare tables. I see you there, Kay Webster. Give me just a moment. It's the Medicare table, right? So the 20% of the eligible surgical benefit for the assistant surgeon is based on the Medicare table, right? If the baseline is $500, then $100. 20% of that benefit, $100 would go to the assistant surgeon. Same thing for the anesthesiologist. Please note that there is not a multiplier there, right? It pays on the baseline, right? Not the multiplier. Just a moment, let's check in with the chat line here. I'm not sure if the Medicare table is the same as the RBRVS because I don't know what the RBRVS is. Help me out with that and I should be able to answer that question for you. Average price of colonoscopy, I can give you a range on that one, Erica. I've heard anywhere on the low end, somewhere around $1,200. Upper end, I've heard over $2,000, $2,400. And that's pretty much working with agents like yourself from coast to coast. So somewhere in that area, I'm guessing is what the real number is. You might be able to do a Google search on it and come up with something, but I would guess on that range, probably somewhere in the $1,700 to $1,800 range, something along those lines. Oh, you're welcome. Not a problem. Great question. Appreciate the engagement. Skipped it earlier. Going to come back to it. Doctor's office visit with rollover. Here's the catch on this one, team. It is a per day, per calendar year benefit, right? Okay. Calendar year, not policy year. So it doesn't matter when they start the coverage in a year, right? The plan provides X amount of doctor's office visits per calendar year, right? Now, we do realize that, hey, you could start someone on the plan later in the year and they don't have the full benefit, right? They don't have the opportunity, necessarily have the opportunity to use all or most of those office visits depending upon their time of enrollment, okay? That's why they're able to roll over up to 5 of them, okay, per policy year, right? Prescription benefit is a per day benefit. I see you, K. Webster. Give me a moment on that. Prescription benefit is a per day benefit. All right? This is important, team. Again, stand on the right side of the conversations. Okay? If you have a client that goes out and they get a script for 3 different prescriptions, right? And they go and they have all of them filled that day, right? We're going to pay, again, Elite Plus is my talking point. We're going to pay the $75. It is a per day benefit, all right? Take the same scenario and flip it. What if they have 3 scripts, but they fill 1 per day over 3 days? Then that is a per day benefit, and yes, they would get $75 per day for covered prescriptions. The thing of note here, I'm going to drop down a wee bit, so keep up with me. Right here, where it says the prescription benefit is a $750 calendar year max, okay? So while it is a per day benefit on the top end with the Elite Plus, okay, on the top end, that benefit is going to be available to them 10 times, right? $75 per day, $75 per day benefit, $750 max, right? It'll be available for them 10 times within, let me scroll back down so y'all can see it, within the calendar year. All right, just a moment, let me check in here. I am not sure if we use the resource-based relative value schedule. Just a moment on that. All right, we're checking on that. We'll see if we can get an answer for you on it shortly. Going back to the outpatient medical benefit, all right, per day services, team. All right, this is important. Why? I'm going specifically to where it says laboratory services. Let me see if I can highlight this a little bit to bring everyone's attention. Ooh, that's too much. All right, there we are. All right, hopefully you all see that. Laboratory services, it's a per day benefit. If you have a client that goes in, okay, all right, just got the answer on that. So there's a Medicare physician's fee schedule, and then it's the RBRVS, and those are 2 different things. So we use the Medicare physician's fee schedule. Thanks, team. Appreciate y'all. All right. Going back to the laboratory service, per day benefit. All right, throwing out a caution flag here. You have a client, let's say old Joe goes in and he has several labs done. Let's say he has 5 labs done that day. We're going to pay a per day benefit. So we're only going to pay that benefit for 1 of those 5 labs, okay, in that scenario. But the point being, we're only going to pay for 1 lab on a given day. Totally get it. You know, people are going to go in, they're going to run multiple labs and so on and so forth. Totally get it. I will tell you all, putting the cards on the table face up, we are having conversations about looking at ways to enhance the affordable choice product. Not sure what that look is going to look like, right? Not sure what the changes are going to be, but this is one of the items that has been tabled for discussions. Is there something that we can go in and do that could, you know, for one, be a little more helpful for your clients, and then 2, it's got to make good business sense, right? So yeah, that is one that I definitely wanted to call out, is a per day benefit. Therapy services, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, right? We got all of those that can be used for therapy services. Guess what else goes in with that? The doctor's office visit. So what is not listed here, maybe a write down moment, chiropractic, right? They can use the plan for chiropractic services. I see you, Mark. Give me just a moment. They can use the plan for chiropractic services, okay? It's going to pay the same benefit as the therapy service for whichever plan level they're on, as well as the office benefit, okay? All right. The radiology services, okay? The amounts that you see listed there correspond to the services that are listed in the column on the left, right? MRI, Elite Plus team, MRI, 700. PET scan, 700. CT scan, 700. Mammo, 300. Other radiology tests, 250. Okay, another write-down moment. Other radiology tests is a very broad bucket. I know you can see that. I know you understand that. I'm going to throw in something that's not specifically listed, but it comes up often enough that you all need to know about it because you're likely to get questions on it. Okay, EKGs, right? EKGs, EKCs, whatever the other versions are, right? Those get paid as an other radiology benefit. Here's the thing. Calendar year limit for all outpatient benefits as you see it on the screen. It ranges from $8,000 on the high end, $4,000 on the low end. All right? Ground and air ambulance, pretty well self-explanatory. Not going to spend any time on that. Allergy shots and immunizations. Here's the call out. Child only. All right? Now, I'm going to take a step further on this thing and share with you, we do not pay for injections for adults. Okay? We do not pay for injections for adults. No, massage therapy is not included. It would be so awesome if it was, but massage therapy is not included. Yes, this is a true indemnity plan. It can be used as a standalone, or it can be coupled with anything in the market. And it doesn't matter what the market plan is, right? It could be ACA. It could be major med, doesn't matter. We are a true supplemental, okay? So you compare our products with anything in the market. Great questions, team. Appreciate y'all. Excuse me. All right. Cancer benefit, okay? Pays for radiation, chemotherapy, and immunotherapy as listed. Per day benefit, 40 days per calendar year, right? So if you have someone on this plan, and they have to have either one of those services. It's a per service benefit. So if they're going in once or twice a week for chemo, then let's say twice a week, right? Okay, that's $2,000 for one, $2,000 for the other, right? I get it. They've got cancer. They've got a lot going on, right? It doesn't just affect them. It also affects their family, right? It doesn't just affect their health. It also affects their finances. I totally get it, all right? You can communicate to your clients that this does not need to be filed daily or some such like that, right? If they want to do their chemo for an entire month and then file that claim at one time, right? Let's say they go twice a day for an entire month. Okay, that's 8 visits in that month. Times $2,000, $16,000 benefit payable, right? If they want to keep all of that and just file it at one time, they absolutely can, and it's probably easier for them from a bookkeeping perspective. Inpatient hospital confinement and the building benefit injury reimbursement, okay? $1 million per calendar year, all right? That is specifically for the inpatient hospital confinement. Remember where I was at, where we were at the top of the call, team, all right? Inpatient hospital confinement, life-threatening, right? Bad shape, right? If you've got someone, let's say old Joe goes out, he's in a bad motorcycle wreck, and he ends up being in a coma, right? That building, that's hospital confinement as well as the building benefit, right? Joe's in that hospital for whatever length of time that is. This plan is going to pay $1 million for the confinement. Has nothing to do with any other services, right? The labs, in any types of a radiology service, MRIs, CAT scans, so on and so forth, has nothing to do with that. Those benefits pay in addition to the $1 million calendar year limit right there. The call out right there is specifically on the confinement or building benefit injury. All right, allergy shots and immunizations, $100 per calendar year, again, is limited to kiddos, all right? Does not include adults. We do not cover injections for adults. And then, right, Everyone's always worried about risk capacity. You know, this, I don't know anything about this company. I've never heard of this insurance. I don't feel comfortable here, or how much money am I going to end up having to pay out of pocket? All right, some of that's going to be on you as the agent, right? You got to know your client, KYC. Got to know your client. So you got to work with them to figure out ways to protect them. But you can tell them in confidence that on this plan, the lifetime maximum is $5 million. That means that while they're on the plan and they're receiving whatever services that they're receiving, okay, we're going to pay benefits for covered services up to $5 million. If they end up in a truly, truly horrible situation, they're confined to the hospital. Let's go back and pick on old Joe again. That accident, the coma, and all that stuff like that, and Joe's in the hospital. Joe can be, Joe's out of it. He doesn't know what's going on. He's having the time of his life in his head. But his family can be comforted by the fact that this policy is going to pay upwards of $5 million for covered services. All right. That brings me to the end of that. Scroll up a little bit. Does anyone have any questions? All right, just in case. All right, someone's typing. I want to go back to. I'm going to piggyback off of what Mark T asked about the plan being used as a standalone. Let's talk about who you target, folks. I know this is not specifically product related with the affordable choice, but this product is great for small businesses, right? We're talking folks that are the business. If they're not working, they're not necessarily making money. We're looking at truck drivers, realtors, electricians, carpenters, plumbers, things of that nature, folks that have been successful enough in their industry that they're running a business. Perhaps they have been successful enough that they've had to hire folks to come into the business. So they're not only providing for their families, they're also providing for their working families, right? But they haven't been so successful that they can afford the price of a major medical plan or a marketplace plan, all right? This is where the affordable choice comes in, all right? This is where the affordable choice comes in. This is a plan that you can take out there and confidently put in front of people who have insurance needs and just cannot afford the premiums associated with other plans. This product is not guaranteed issue. It is simplified underwriting. I'll get to that in just a moment. Put an asterisk there. And yes, you can use it for a list bill. Many, many folks do that. They use it as the foundation of the list bill because it is a wellness and hospital indemnity product. All right. As far as guaranteed issue, no, sir. It is not guaranteed issue. It is simplified underwriting. What that means is that after you, for first and foremost, the underwriting questions are in the application. All right. So the health questions that you answer in the application when you're doing the write-up, that's what the underwriters are looking for on this product. All right. We do not do a MIB pool, Medical Insurance Bureau. We do not do a MIB pool on the front end. However, we do a prescription check. That is what we use as our standard to determine the fitness of the applicant, the relative fitness of the applicants, right? Risk capacity, trust but verify, okay? So they don't have to go out and get physicals done or send us medical records or anything of that nature, right? We take the information from the application. Our underwriters review it, right? If it's all dotted I's and crossed T's, then it's issued. If there's some wrinkle in there, then our team is going to reach out to your clients and we're going to have what we call a personal health interview, right? PHI. And look, team, we're a carrier. I know this is being recorded, probably going to be slapped on the wrist for it, but we want the premium. We do not want to deny business, okay? We want to make you all more successful, okay? So if there is a realistic possibility that we can approve someone, we're going to approve it, right? We're not looking to turn people down. But at the same time, we're also not looking to expose ourselves to undue risk, right? So we're going to use the simplified underwriting approach to get the policies issued. On the back end, we protect ourselves with the pre-existing conditions phase, right? The first 12 months that you have insureds on this product, they fall under the pre-existing conditions criteria, right? What does that mean? That means that if within that first year, let's say they're 6 months into the plan, they go into the hospital, they rack up a medical bill of $50,000, we're going to request medical records. Now, we're going to request medical records for the most recent 2 years, all right? Because what we need to do is look at those medical records and determine, is this $50,000 bill something that's already been there, diagnosed, but not treated, undertreated, whatever the case may be, or is it really something that just happened since they came on the plan, all right? If we can say that this is connected to a pre-existing condition, we're going to deny the claim. We're not going to pay the benefits, right? If we can say that it is not connected to a pre-existing condition, we're going to process the claim and pay covered benefits. All right. Hopefully that helps everyone. All right. Looks like there are no further questions. Okay, team. All right. Looks like that is it for today. So thank you all for joining. Appreciate the engagement. Going to have the contact information here to our ACES team put in the chat just before we part ways. So for those that need or want to connect with us down the road, please do so. We know things. All right. To everyone else, have a good day. Continued success. Thank you all.